I mean, I can introduce the idea of parachutes by pushing somebody off a building, but that doesn't make it a good idea.
I think there's one policy that Trump and his team has been espousing and implementing that I think actually is good in the long term. And I think that you on your stream, you've been a little myopic regarding this topic. So what I'm speaking about specifically is tariffs, particularly against China, but more generally to try to bring manufacturing home. Now, I don't think these tariffs are going to work because they're all basically like EO and they're going to be gone in 4 years. But America doesn't have any manufacturing capacity anymore. And if a war goes hot, a lot of analysts surveyed by the Atlantic Council increasingly do believe in the next 10 or 20 years we might have some kind of World War III scenario. I don't think America is going to be up to the task of industrializing to fight a belligerent China, bloc.
I think that there might be arguments for tariffing certain sectors. If you're talking about national security stuff, Donald Trump is not targeting certain sectors. There are a lot of actions you could take as a country to become safer if national security is what you were interested in, like, for instance, shoring up your allies or building stronger relations with your neighbors. Donald Trump has nuked both of those. Europe is turning their back on us, and Mexico and Canada, our other two largest trading partners, no longer trust us. I don't think that Donald Trump is instilling any amount of confidence in investment in domestic manufacturing because these tariffs are changing so much. CapEx, it takes a long time to build a factory and to invest in a place and to have it up and running. And even if you would at this point, why bother building in the United States when you can't ship to any other country now because everybody's going to be tariffing you because of counter tariffs? So if there was ever an argument for revitalizing or for bringing some kind of national security to the United States, I think Donald Trump is not. He's taken every single step in the opposite direction of that. If you want to talk about, revitalizing manufacturing, I mean, the largest manufacturer in the world of goods is China, and the second largest is the United States. We manufacture a lot of stuff here. People talk about, the destruction of manufacturing, but under Joe Biden, we reinvested a ton and it was growing pretty significantly. Nothing that Donald Trump is doing, and nobody is saying this, nobody is agreeing that anything he's doing is instilling any kind of confidence in people making investments into manufacturing here in the United States. So if those are things that you're concerned about, honestly, doing nothing would have been better than what Trump is doing now.
And the tariff policy. Yeah, and absolutely. I think that if we're unable to maintain a coherent tariff policy going forward, I think it will crash and burn. And I think even that's probably the most likely scenario. I think the European Union as a whole is slightly beating us out in comparison to China. But because the European Union no longer has, or is beginning to distance themselves from the United States, they've actually implemented a $900 billion rearmament policy, which I think is a much bigger step up in ensuring European defense.
Yeah, but that hurts our defense, right?
It hurts our defense in what way?
Well, now they're not buying stuff from us, so our military-industrial complex is hurt. We're no longer going to be coordinating with them the same way that we would have, like when we do NATO exercises. So our ability to coordinate warfare on a global scale is going to be hurt. Our ability to work with people in an intelligence capacity, like we do with Five Eyes, is going to be hurt. So our ability to ward off threats and see stuff like that is going to be hurt. Our ability to rely on people to come and help us if we did get invaded or if something would happen to us is going to be hurt. That hurts us in every single way. So, it's kind of like saying our household is running out of money, but my 11-year-old child went out and got a job, and I think it's going to help us a lot. And I think in that case, something's probably not working.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think my concern would be...
and on top of all that, just one more thing. Mm-hmm. Trump is asking for a $150 billion increase in the Pentagon. So what? Yeah. If Europe is stepping up so much, then why do we have to ask for even more of a budget increase on our end for our own military stuff? None of it makes sense, I think.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that Donald Trump's tariff policy as it currently stands, I don't think really any of his policies are super sensible. But I feel like he's introduced the idea of stronger tariffs, and especially against China. I hope a number of them stick.
I can introduce the idea of parachutes by pushing somebody off a building, but that doesn't make it a good idea.
Right.
It's none of the goals I think you set out all of them are being pushed against now. right? The United States is probably less secure right now. Would you agree with that? If we are less coordinating with Europe, if less people are buying stuff from us, I think some people have already canceled like F-35 orders and stuff. So we're probably less secure. We're shipping and coordinating less militarily with people. We've made people to the north and south of us feel very uncomfortable because Donald Trump kept talking about taking over fucking parts of Canada or Greenland.
Yep. Okay.
So I feel like we're less secure now than we were before.
Well, so here's my problem, right? We have a number of really high-value military assets, but they take a very long time to build. And I think the war in Ukraine, we've seen, they can be defeated by mass-produced, like low-tech, like en masse, like, for instance, like the FPV, like drone assaults.
So the drone assaults are really good at defeating, no offense, but like Ukrainian soldiers that are doing battle from ditches. I don't think the drones could be defeating F-35s shooting missiles from 20 miles away. Like, yeah, they can beat Ukraine, but Ukraine's Air Force, I think, consists of like the extras from the Top Gun 2 set right now. Again, no offense to Ukraine, but like I don't think that war would be a model for what it would look like for the United States. I think that the second Gulf War is probably a closer model to when the United States was to go to war with somebody. We just...
Yeah, and I don't want to denigrate our current strike capacity, particularly like in like a principal territory attack by another nuclear power, right? I think nuclear
Deterrence?
Deterrence, thank you. Nuclear deterrence is still effective if there's going to be like attacks on principal territories. But I think that, it seems likely to me that we could lose significant parts of Asia, including large areas of our current manufacturing to China. Vietnam isn't a nuclear power. I think it seems like they are actively planning to engage in combat with Taiwan and try to take that country over. I think generally, if we don't have a lot of this manufacturing back home, even for like more simple machines, I don't know how we're going to be able to say that an even larger like Chinese.
Sure, like let's say that I bought all of that. Wasn't Biden's CHIPS Act a better idea?
Yeah, the CHIPS Act is critical.
So then it seems like even in that, if that was something we cared about, Biden would have been a better choice than Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that Biden would have continued to pursue. Now, I would still vote for Biden today, but I think he would have continued to pursue, multilateral trade agreements with China as a manner of appeasing them and trying to bring them into the global, sort of trade alliance.
Well, and also probably it's also good for our consumers and our manufacturing and everything as well, right?
Yeah. So I think that China is good for our manufacturing and that it's a massive skilled labor base. But I think that the Chinese government is actively hostile to ours. Like, look at how effectively foreign agents utilizing social media, TikTok, and every other social media platform, sourced from places like Russia and China have been at destroying the American ideological landscape.
Yeah, I think it's a big problem. But right now you have one political party and you can't even say the R word around them without them screeching Russiagate and totally shutting their brains off and being unwilling to even engage in that conversation. So the idea that Russia and China are trying to influence us on our social media, okay, well, let's go ahead and tariff every single country on the planet by 90%. That's just an unhinged response, and it's probably not getting us any further to any of those goals. One of the big issues I have is that it's just, I feel like Trump swings with a sledgehammer and then people will look at the shattered pieces of whatever is left on the ground and go oh, well, that thing was kind of messed up before, right? And it's yeah, but Jesus Christ. It's just, this isn't effectively combating anything. It's not effectively moving us into any positive direction. I feel like we're getting worse on all of our goals. Manufacturing is going to be worse in the United States. Every single manufacturer has said so. The security is going to be worse in the United States. The fact that people are canceling orders and we're going to be working less with other countries seems to further that. If we were worried about places like Taiwan getting taken over, well, I mean, if China looks at how we are treating Ukraine and Russia, why wouldn't they? I'm pretty sure I don't know if Trump has said we wouldn't do anything in Taiwan. I feel like he's made statements almost to that effect. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like if we did care about any of these things, Trump is basically the worst guy for the job. Right.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts there, Mr. McDowell?
Absolutely. Yeah. No. And so generally, I do think I agree with you. However, I don't think that anyone else would be batshit crazy enough to implement or normalize the idea of wide-ranging and large tariffs to protect what we would consider to be low-level or crappy manufacturing jobs. I agree that they're low-level and crappy, but I am worried in a future 20 or 30 years from now that we might be fighting, a large power block that has taken over a large amount of even the foreign, basic parts manufacture that we're currently utilizing. And if they decide to just stop trade with us and become the global hegemon themselves, we're not going to be able to stop them.
Yeah, but I guess, because I have to ask, just let's assume that these manufacturing jobs come back. Who's going to work them? Because our unemployment is like 4.5% right now.
Yeah.
We also want to deport 20 million illegal immigrants that are also working in the United States. Like,
I think what I would contest there is that it's actually relatively easy to permanently disable a large number of the modern conveniences that we appreciate. Satellites, especially United States satellites, China has mixed their commercial satellites with like military use. But a lot of them can be, lasered down. That technology currently exists and has been tested. Internet could be cut. If China wanted to hold the world hostage right now, I think they would have a pretty good shot at doing it. So what I would say is that, yeah, no one wants to work those jobs. They suck, and we don't have the capacity currently. But if we aren't prepared for a world in that state, I think that we could wind up in a situation where a large amount of our service economy just kind of gets shuttered, because the technology has been, the global internet's been sliced. Our satellites are no longer available. We lose a lot of those conveniences of modernity.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I guess I would just say that I think that if this is a thing we were legitimately and genuinely concerned about, what we would be doing is we'd be trying to build up like Mexico or South America or our European partners more so that they have a larger capacity for that type of manufacturing instead, rather than nuking half of our economy in the hopes that somehow we're going to be outcompeting the 2 billion Chinese people at making widgets. But I mean, that's,
that's just how it is. Okay.
All right, everyone. Mr.
Thanks so
McDowell,
much. Yeah, thanks, I
big
appreciate it.
round of applause.
Thanks.